Welcome to a Chumps Thoughts, where I, an exceedingly average RuneScape player, give my thoughts and opinions on anything RuneScape related. Today I want to revisit something, and that something is the FSOA and animate dead nerfs. I want to compare what it's going to look like for a fairly average player like myself to feel what the changes are going to end up impacting. The way I'm going to be testing this is first by doing an FSOA and spec rotation on a dummy over here, both on the live game, and then compare what the damage I get is on the beta servers. I'm also going to look at a boss that I've been doing a whole lot of lately, and that is Zamorak. I want to do a comparison of kill times at 50% in rage, 100% in rage, and 200% in rage. Now, each of these sets are going to be just done one time, so it's not a really great way to test it. It's not going to be exactly precise, but we'll get an idea of what's going to happen. Now, if you would like my initial thoughts and reactions to the animate dead nerf and FSOA changes, I did do a video on that when it was announced, so a link to that video is going to be put in the description below. On screen now, you're going to see the table that we're going to use to compare the staff both pre and post proposed nerf. You'll see that I've already filled out the 200% Zami kill time, and this is actually based on the previous episode of From Chump to Champ, where I was doing a lot of 200% solos. They were getting fairly consistent, so I didn't pick the best time, I didn't pick the worst time, I picked something that was fairly average, a 644. I've also converted it to seconds just to make it easier to get a percent change, so just to make the math a little easier. The first thing we're going to test is the damage that we do on a dummy in a sunshine rotation. Now, I've already reset my rune metrics to start it at 0 to see what I get during that rotation. Now, on my rotations, I try to make sure that I get 2 wild magics, 2 asphyxiates, an omni power, and a couple ABSs somewhere in the middle. I also try to make sure that I tsunami at max stack so I have as much adrenaline as possible, and I really only use G-Conk if I absolutely need more adrenaline. So, let's do a rotation and see what that value ends up being. Also, as a side note, I am not using weapon poison just because my preset here does not have it, since this is my Zami preset. I will also be using limitless in order to get the most damage out, as well as an APOT. So on that attempt, I ended up getting 396,841 damage in that sunshine. I'm going to redo it just because it was a little bit high. I got a relentless off of something. It wasn't my sunshine. I think it was my omni power or my tsunami. So I'm going to redo it. All right, so I finally did get this. It took me a few attempts to get it right because sometimes I'd forget buffs, sometimes I'd forget to debuff the dummy and things like that. I actually did this after the 50% Zami kill, so there is a aura on, which is Invigorate, so I will be doing it with Invigorate on the other test. However, I ended up with 342,691 damage, so let's get that value up on the table. Up next, we're going to do a 50% enraged Zamorak kill in the current state. Now, there's no way I would actually be doing this in tank gear typically. In fact, I'd probably be hybriding this in power gear because it's just a 50% kill. However, I'm just going to keep the normal preset just to keep it consistent through all the kills. I am probably going to try to skip mechanics without relying on the FSOA completely just so I can speed this up, because that is what I would be doing right now. For the 100% kill, I don't know if that's what I'll do. I'll probably try it, but I will be stalling on pads if sunshine is not available a little bit. And I'll keep that consistent. The other thing I'm going to be doing is auraing with Supreme Invigorate, because that is what I typically like to use just because it's my favorite aura. Let's check out how this works. All right, so that kill took about 5 minutes and 20 seconds. I did screw up a little bit, 5:24. I did screw up quite a bit, so I ended up not actually smoke clouding for half of it. And things like that, but we're just going to record the time because, like I said, everything is going to be a one attempt kind of thing. Let's stick it onto the table. All right, next up we got the 100% kill, so let's see what kind of time we get here. All right, that is the 100% kill done at a 639.6. I did have a couple of mistakes here and there, but overall not too bad, I don't think. Where are the blood runes? Oh well. But let's just add that onto the table. All right, so here we are logged into the beta server. I think that what I'm going to do is try the same exact thing. I'm going to do a little rotation, a sunshine rotation on the dummies over here. Now, I will say I do think with the change, because it is ability based, there's obviously going to be some changes in regard to the sunshine rotation. Overall, I think my goal is to try to get the same kind of deal out with getting a tendrils, an omni, 2 wild magics, 2 of 6s, as well as maybe a little bit of ABS spam. Perhaps a G staff might be better there. I don't know. But basically, my idea remains very similar. However, between each of those abilities, I think I'm going to try to get more G-Conks out. So I will be prioritizing throwing G-Conk after the or before the ability. So let's see how our damage goes. All right, so the damage numbers I got, I did it a couple times. This has actually been my best rotation so far because I was able to spam more G-Conks before the thresholds and before all my hard-hitting abilities. I was able to grab 320,087 damage within a FSOA Sunshine rotation. So let's throw that onto the chart. So looking at the change on the graph, we are looking at a 22,604 damage less damage done during the Sunshine and FSOA rotation for a change of 6.6%. Moving on to our 50% kill, let's see how these numbers end up changing. This probably won't be a good kill just because it's getting used to a completely different rotation, but you know, let's just see how it goes. All right, so the 50% kill is done. It was a 536.6 or 336 seconds. So it is only about 8 seconds slower than the old FSOA kill. That's actually a really good chest. Let's put that onto the table and get the numbers all set up. So looking at the table, the original kill was 324 seconds. The new kill was 336 seconds, so a difference of 8 seconds or 2.3% slower. Let's go test the 100%. So the 100% kill is done. It ended up being a 647. Crappy loot. So sticking that onto our chart, you can see that the original kill was a 399. The second attempt at it with the post nerf is at 407, which is again the same difference of 8 seconds, which is actually only a 2% change this time because the 5% or 50% was obviously a shorter kill. So let's go check our 200s. All right, so this is the kill that actually had a huge difference on it. My damage was a bit lacking here. I ended up with a 7 minute and 46 second kill. Let's go check it out. Decent loot, but we're not really caring about the loot because this is the beta server. So for the 200% kill, the original kill was 404 seconds. After the nerf, it ended up being 466 seconds for a difference of 62 seconds or a 15.35% increase. So overall, I don't think that the nerf is actually too crazy or as crazy as I initially thought it would be. Looking at my 50% and my 100% kills, I know that those were wildly closer together than expected at only a 2.3 or a 2% difference in speed. But I think a good chunk of that could also just be because of my spell choice while swapping. Now, I used to almost always use blood barrage because I like the heals, and obviously now I'm just going to exsanguinate for the additional damage, and with the additional damage you end up getting bigger heals now with the new setup because we are not casting auto attacks. Obviously, there's a bit of rotation changes that happen with this because there are more G-Conks being used. And because of that, I didn't necessarily have the best rotations regarding the post-nerf change. Sometimes my brain would go back to the old ways of the ways that I would be doing things. So I do account for that as part of the larger change on the 200% kill because I know I caught myself messing up and not G-Conking enough in my FSOA rotations. If you recall the original video that I put out regarding the FSOA changes, I don't think I actually need as much as I initially thought it would need. There was a few things that I had said, being either A, keep it as an auto attack rather than the change to an ability, or B, perhaps give it an increased chance of doing the spell. I really don't think that's really necessary. Basically, it's going to make spell slit flicking far more mandatory in regards to what we're doing in order to get heals. And I will say that 200% kill, definitely felt that. I ended up using all of my food in signing. The other thing that I said is Magma Tempest should be able to crit. I do still think that. I just enjoy the idea of another ability that we can use in case we need to during Sunshine rotations. If they don't give the special attack a chance of proccing ancient spells slightly more, I do kind of sort of hope that they give us back at least the recursive auto nature of it, not to infinity, but at least one additional. Obviously, it's not going to be an auto, it would just be a spell that triggers off of itself. So I could crit, get the ability damage, and if that ability damage just crit, I would get one more and no more than that. I did enjoy the chance of getting that burst damage, but I do agree it was a little much to scale to infinity. This would still keep that cap as to that. If you wanted to see the rest of my thoughts on the initial announcement, feel free to check the description below and I will place that video in there. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like these changes? Do you think they're too heavy, too light? Be sure to comment below. Thanks for watching and we'll see you guys soon.